Okay. I was diagnosed at the age of 12, right before I started high school. And this was pre-biologics. So I had a very aggressive onset. It was fevers that went up to 106 twice a day. My mom is a pediatric nurse for oncology at Sloan Kettering. And I was so lucky to have her in many ways as my mother, but also as my advocate. And she, so the rash, pericarditis, and it just came on like a light bulb one day. And the only things that were available were aspirin, gold injections, which I had an allergic reaction to, and steroids, because they were at that time it was risky. They were not wanting to give methotrexate to kids yet. So I started high school on 60 milligrams of prednisone, which was a wonderful experience. So that's how it was for a while. I would flare up and I would be very, very sick, and then I would have some down times. The fevers would go through 13 aspirin, and the doctor said that's not possible. And my mom's Italian from New York, and she said, you better believe it's possible, because it's happening. And it wasn't until I went to a conservatory in college, which was very intense. And I was talking to my mom last night, and I said, how did I graduate? She said, by the skin of your teeth, because Enbrel wasn't invented yet until my senior year. And that was a game changer for me. But I always need double the dose of any biologic, and my body responds very quickly. And then when it's done with whatever medication, it's done overnight. I have been on every TNF inhibitor. I was a patient of Dr. Lehman's at Hospital of Special Surgery. He has 100% saved my life many times. I owe him big time. He put me on a thalidomide trial, which was very successful, and a great sleeping aid. I was on Actemra, Alaris, Symphony, Cimzia, Kinneret, and all of the major, everything. And I had the most success with Orencia for a period of time. And then I didn't. So steroids, and I like to call them the devil's Tic Tacs. I can't tolerate them. I don't know if it's because as a woman, I respond differently to them, but they make me cuckoo. And also started in high school on steroids with some hair growing on my face, some falling out of my head. It was just not a fun experience for a high school girl. And my disease also presented with more systemic symptoms. So I would get violent chills, my skin would turn purple. The first time I went to see a pediatric rheumatologist was actually Dr. Andrew Eichenfeld, and I had a flare in front of him, and the residents, they wanted to admit me, and he said, no, it's good that you're seeing this. This is what an SJIA flare up looks like. And I remember thinking, like, can I at least have a blanket? You don't know, you're a kid. You just want to be normal. You don't know what's happening to you. the pericarditis is intense. But the biologics did change things. I want to make clear that a singular diagnosis does not ensure a universal experience. So this is just my story. So I don't want you to hear certain things and then think, oh, it's going to be your story. So I was able to complete college. I worked as an actor in a demanding musical off Broadway. I worked in film and TV. I went to get my master's in psychotherapy, which was very helpful. And I did go back to see Dr. Lehman because my adult rheumatologist, I live in Los Angeles. He would send me back there because he was just unable to help me. And I was at the American Conference Rheumatology with creaky joints, interviewing rheumatologists. And I asked a rheumatologist beforehand, what would you like to speak about? I was like, I'd like to talk about SJIA or stills. He said, well, I would need to Google it first. I was like, oh my God. So that didn't make, that was upsetting to me. And when I was first diagnosed, I had asked my doctor, will I be able to have children? And he said, by the time you're ready to have kids, we'll have a cure by then. And I'm ready and we're there and we're not anywhere near a cure. I will end by saying that the comorbidities that came with the disease are often harder to deal with than the actual SJIA. I had to have a portion of my intestines removed. And I am more comfortable with a pediatric doctor, but unfortunately, Dr. Lehman retired. And I am on a DAC kinase inhibitor. And it's a constant, jockeying of medications. So I feel like I'm playing mad scientist with my meds because of my GI involvement. And when I was at hospital special surgery, Dr. Maggot, I was seeing him at first, and he said, I can't help you anymore. I'm going to refer you to Dr. Lehman. And he had put me on Alaris. That was before the JAK inhibitor. And I was on double Alaris, and it worked for 2 months, and then it stopped working. So I have been able to do things and live a happy, happy life and full life. I would say the last year has been the most challenging, for sure. And I have a lot of hope for the next generation and for people who are newly diagnosed.